Welcome to the Blue is the New White podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Special guest today, we're sitting down with Todd Breiner, the Senior VP of the Middleby Marshall Company. And what a great conversation we were able to have today. I hope you guys really enjoy it. We talk about everything from his beginnings in the industry to how Middleby is handling the COVID situation and what kind of mindset you're supposed to have right now in these times to ensure that you come out better than when you started. Just a lot of great information this week with a really great guy. So hopefully you enjoy the episode. And as always, we don't do any kind of monetization on this channel or anything like that. So if you enjoyed the episode, please rate it, share it, let people know to listen, to watch. It's people like you that really make this grow. So thanks again and enjoy the show. Hey, Todd, welcome to the show, man.
Josh, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, anytime. I was happy that that we connected on LinkedIn, and after talking to you for a little while, it was pretty evident that you've got a bit of a story to tell, and I'm excited to share that with my audience here. And I'm sure that many of them probably know who you are. You know, I do have a lot of people in the food service industry that listen to my show, so. I'm really looking forward to it, man. So why don't you tell me first off, what do you do now, and then we'll get into your backstory.
Sure. So I currently serve as the Senior Vice President at Middleby Marshall, essentially running day-to-day operations there, along with the great team that continue to make me look good on a daily basis. But right now, that's what I do. They're based in Chicago. I think we talked before, but I live in Austin, Texas. So pre-COVID, a lot of traveling, and post-COVID, a lot of time with the kids, and it's been great too.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to look at the positives and all this, which we'll definitely get to. So, tell me a little bit about kind of who you are. Where'd you grow up, and how did you finagle your way into this business?
Yeah. So I grew up. I was born in Indiana. Moved around quite a bit as a kid. I lived in Chicago area. I lived in Virginia. But settled in Houston, Texas. So I actually grew up in Houston, Texas, graduated high school there, went to college at Arizona State, was out there for 6.5 years, 4 years of college, 2.5 years of working, and then made my way to Austin. When I left Texas, I love the state, but really was burned out on the Houston scene and kind of all that. And I joked with my mom when I left. I said, if I ever move back, I'd only be to Austin. So she was, needless to say, thankful that I found an opportunity in Austin early on. The company I was with at the time, interesting enough, wanted to start moving me around the U.S. every 6 months to a year. I wasn't interested in that. And ironically, like most stories, I was dating a young lady at the time in Austin, and one of her neighbors worked for Concept Services. And they're a dealer out of Austin, Texas. And so he and I become friends over a period of time. His name's Kyle Johnson. And I said, look, I'm looking to do a transition. I don't want to keep moving. He said, look, I think you'd be great at what we do. Got a good marketing background, sales, and just good understanding of things. So he had brought me in to learn a little bit about the business. I did. It was very intriguing to me. At the time, I think I was a 25th or 24th employee at Concept Services. So we're talking... This was 96, 97. So going back a little ways. But yeah, I didn't know, and I joke with the younger folks now, but I didn't know at 23 I was signing my life away to the industry. I don't think a lot of us do, but you realize later that no one actually leaves. We all stay in the industry and serve in different capacities. But so in 96, I joined Concept Services, started to understand, learning the business. Spent about 10 years with them, eventually left, started Advanced Restaurant Services, which was a consulting group that we were focused on doing really flow function design of kitchens themselves. When I was at Concept, I realized we spent half the time fixing architects' problems because they had 2 weeks opening. At that point, they're not going to argue with an architect. We were there to solve it. And realized that there was a need to tighten that area up and could save on change orders, help people get open on time, reduce the stress for dealers, all that. So I did that for a period of time, 7 years, was working with Jason's Deli, who's a customer of mine. They offered me a position to go work with them. So I joined Jason's Deli and was in charge of their purchasing, worked with R&D, real estate development, facilities, kind of everything that falls under the development umbrella. And they're an incredible company. They organically grow, meaning for them, when they had great people that were managers and whatnot looking for other positions, they move them into corporate. But I was one of the first outsiders brought in that didn't come up to the ranks of management and all that in the restaurants. But again, it was a great company, great culture. I was there 7 years. During that time, I was having a conversation with Dave Brewer and Don Hawkins, who were at Middleby, and David. I'd known each other before, and even at Jason's Deli, we were doing business with Middleby. And said I was ready for a change. Dave thought, my unique background of having been a dealer, consultant, and now an end user, and bringing that vision into the manufacturing side could be a huge asset for Middleby. For me, it was intriguing because it almost kind of closed the loop for me. And touching all sides of the business. I mean, the only thing I really haven't done is obviously what you guys do, but I've interacted in all my capacities with the service end of the aspect of the business, and then being a rep. So later on, joined Middleby, was at Star Brands for a while. So Star, Wells, Lang, that group, did a year stint at Alto-Shaam, and then they brought me back to come work at Middleby Marshall. And that's the Cliff Note version of the journey.
Wow. It sounds like you've been around the block a couple of times, and I think it's really cool that you kind of hit almost every aspect of the industry, like you said, to kind of get an all-encompassing view of the ins and the outs, how it works from the customer side, from the manufacturer side, from the service side. I think that type of knowledge is super valuable, especially in what you do. So I'm curious, I often say that people arrive in this industry on accident but stay on purpose, and because it's a wonderful industry full of fantastic people, great opportunity, and one of my things is that it's seldom known, right? It's not something that is obvious to most people because it's just not talked about. There's nothing really super sexy about this industry on the outside, but once you get into it and understand it, the different ways that it can go and the different places it can take you are just unbelievable. So I'm curious, what did you go to college for, and what did you want to do when you graduated?
So I went to college for marketing and finance. Growing up, believe it or not, I wanted to be a stockbroker. This is old school pre-computer days, and I'm not that old, but it's just the time that it happened. My grandfather had me track stocks on accounting ledger. And so I kept track of 50 stocks. And then at the end of each summer, we picked 3 to invest in. And that was eventually going to be my money for college. So I was really intrigued with understanding how businesses made money, understanding things they did, why they did them, what potential long-term would offer good stock value for me to grow my money. And obviously the business needed to grow. So I really originally was kind of headed that way. I did an internship with Club Med International. And so my story is going to go downhill, just so you know, after this. So I did an internship with Club Med International out of Scottsdale at the time. Obviously I was, I think at the time when I started, I was 20. And I'm going, wait a minute, you got resorts worldwide, and these are the things you do, and this is really cool. And so really got into the marketing and sales aspect. And so after college, I ended up joining them, both selfishly because I wanted to go travel, but secondly, also offered me an opportunity kind of in the business world in a different perspective and something new, and wanted to see how I could apply that. Hang on real quick. Nothing like COVID. The one time the street cleaner comes by my house, which he hasn't done since this whole thing started, would be in the middle of this.
Of course.
I've got my 2 wingmen, my dogs here with me.
Nice.
So anyway, I got into sales and marketing with Club Med, enjoyed it, got to go to countries and travel and see things I never would have gotten to do. But at the same time, too, I was getting experience. Everyone thinks of Club Med at the time of, call in 800 Club Med and I want to go on a family vacation. But they had a whole department geared towards corporate sales. And so that's where I worked and functioned, and kind of really loved the opportunity to come in. And we did a deal with Tommy Hilfiger where, they rented out one of our clubs for 4 days in Sonora Bay, so not far, our Hualtuco, Mexico location. And so anyhow, that kind of got the bug on the sales and marketing. And then, like you said, you get into the industry by chance, not on purpose a lot of the times. And again, that's back to the story of dating a girl across the street looking for a change. And again, didn't know I was signing up for a lifelong commitment. But again, I think to your point too, it's an incredible industry. It's a ton of fun. Having now been in it over 20 years and having relationships that are over 20 years old, means a lot. Makes it more enjoyable. It makes it fun. It's a fun industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that statement. It really is fun. If you would have asked me if it was fun, back 11, 12 years ago when I was still, flopping around on kitchen floors fixing fryers, I probably would have had a different answer. But, once you get into it and you kind of, especially on the service side, right? Like, I'm a realist. I can kind of see, look, my passion isn't fixing fryers, right? I love the act of fixing something, but fryers in particular, most of the time are pretty disgusting, and, but once you look past that, and you kind of break through that barrier and you see, all the different opportunities, all the different people that you're helping, all the different relationships that you build, and even just in the last, 3 or 4 years, my network has gone from here to just here because, you instantly have something in common with everybody in the industry because everybody loves it. I mean, at the end of the day, those who succeed in the industry are the ones who absolutely love it. So, good people, good career, good trajectory. So I think it's really amazing. But anyway,
well, if I can add one thing, one of the things I did love early on that I noticed, and I still think is true today, some are better at it than others. Those connections are from service everywhere, right? And everyone's ultimate goal is we're all working to make a better experience for a customer, get them up and running, make sure they open on time, whatever those things are. But the fact that I could work across channels, again, from a dealer side with the manufacturer and then you guys on the service side, it was always a team effort. And it wasn't like, oh, they're the service guys, oh, they're the factory. At the end of the day, you've got to pull everyone together. And the fact that in this industry, people do pull together. And I think, unfortunately, we're seeing it even greater now than we ever have, the strength of this industry and how much they come together. But even early on, I think that was something that really intrigued me. I played soccer my whole life. I think I told you that previously. But that type of team atmosphere, too, is something that really drew me to the industry.
Yeah.
And, how everyone comes together for a greater cause and knocks it out, and it's stressful. And it's not easy, to your point. And there's days that, you feel like you're banging your head on a concrete wall, but, that's life, that's business. But at the end of the day, you feel like you're part of a greater team and, people let the barriers down and we're all in this together type of attitude, which I think is awesome. It makes the industry so much more fun. These type of interactions, it's a positive experience all the way around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The team atmosphere is definitely evident. And like you said, it doesn't mean it's not without conflict, and but at the end of the day, everybody ultimately wants the same thing, right? It's to take care of the customer, the end user, to put a smile on that person's face and really just contribute whatever you can to the greater cause, right? And at least that's what I found because, some manufacturers, and don't take this the wrong way or anything, but some manufacturers are more difficult to deal with than others, and so there can be almost a little feud between service companies and manufacturers sometimes, but usually it's that short-sightedness, you know what I mean? And once you break through that relationship barrier and you understand, that you're all on the same team and you can work forward together and move forward together, then it really makes for, a really cool feeling. It just,
Well, there's a respect,
yes,
right?
a mutual respect.
You don't feel like anyone's working against each other or anything else. And don't get me wrong. I mean, at Middleby Marshall, I've been there 18 months. We're not perfect. We're still working through our own bumps. We've created some of our own challenges in the service network over time. But we're working through it, and the one thing I think you always will see and get from me is that type of honesty and transparency, but also you see that I'm working on it. And ultimately that's my goal. I want those type of relationships. I don't want it to be tenuous. I need you to respect what I'm doing. I'm going to respect what you're doing, but um, that level of respect, I think, is there all the way around. And to your point, yes, not every company is that way. Um, and to me, you can make it easier and work together, or you can stick your chest out and say I'm whoever I am, and take a different approach to it. I think at the end of the day, the best approach and the one that's most successful is everyone working together. And look, again, I'm not perfect, so I have this saying I use it all the time: I'm not going to walk on water. I tell my kids that too. I'm a dad. There's 100,000 books out there on being a dad. They don't prepare you everything,
No.
right? And I'm going to make mistakes, but I'll tell you when I make mistakes, and we'll move forward with it. But you have to do the same, and I do the same in business. I mean, it's just kind of where we're at, and as long as people, I think, see you're genuine and you're working towards that goal, then there's also grace and there's also a little bit more understanding given in that process, and kind of break some of those barriers down, which is important because for me, it's also just that employee, that manager that calls, right? I know what that calls like at 10 and the oven's not working. Like I can feel that, right? Because I've been on that other side of the business too. And my guys were calling me and they're like, we got to make sandwiches in 30 minutes and this thing's not working at all. You understand what that impact is. And it goes all the way down. If you think through it, that manager's going to make a bonus, hopefully. So if he's not serving, he's not making revenue. Now all of a sudden he might make a bonus, which means his family life. I mean, it goes all the way down for all. So I just love when we do have those opportunities to be a hero and then can execute it and get it done as a team. And that guy calls you and thanks you profusely. Like that's the one you look for.
That's it, man. That's the feeling. And you're absolutely right. Humility and empathy. And I think that the business does a good job of building that characteristic as well. Maybe somebody who is a little bit close-minded at first, is going to be able to see the value in the authenticity and learning from their mistakes, admitting when they were wrong, working, together to move forward, with all the partners and employees and everything else. I think that's probably one of the things I love most about the business is the fact that it can really develop personal character, and turn you into a person that you hopefully want to be. Because admittedly, before I was in the business, I was young. I was a young kid. I acted like a young kid. I knew everything when I was, 18 years old. So until I picked up a wrench, and, and then it was a different story.
And then you faked it for a few more years because your ego wouldn't allow you to.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's absolutely right. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm like you, man. I love this industry, and I just want everybody else to love it too. Is that so much to ask? But so let's get into kind of today with what's going on and your role over at Middleby. How has Middleby been navigating the whole situation, that's going on?
Well, I think, again, for us, it was what can we do and how can we help, right? Because at the end of the day, because we are connected, it's a perfect lead-in and segue from the conversation we've been having. We all need to be helping each other. And if I can help an operator, with an issue or get open or help them navigate with solutions. So, what solutions do we have available to help people immediately? How can we be flexible as a company and organization to help them implement that, to get them back up and running or to shift their business, right? So we saw a huge transfer of business from dine-in to carry out to go to food delivery, right? So that took monumental changes for a lot of customers that weren't set up at all for that. Or, again, I mean, I've talked to some, they're like, that was 10% of my business, now it's 60. Well, how do you handle that and what do you do? So I think we took an approach first of where can we help? What solutions do we have? What's out there that's going to help support these people in need now and get them up and running? Because ultimately we need restaurants back, right? That's our livelihood. And we need them running and opening and eventually back to 100%. And so how can Middleby as a corporation, Middleby Marshall in particular, help support those needs that are out there immediately, and what can we do? I can tell you I can't tell you all of it. I mean, even some of the engineering projects changed, because I think the needs are going to be different. So we're looking at some new technologies we would have probably never looked at all that will allow people to deliver a safer product, for instance. And then we've had to change. I mean, there's a ton of divisions in Middleby, as you know. And everyone was hit in a different way just because of the nature of what they built and who their customer base was. But at the same time, we also saw a shift. Project type jobs are still going, stadium jobs are still going. It seems like schools are actually expediting the process of when they order and what they're doing since they're not reopening to go business. So we picked the areas where we felt like, we can still function and make sure we're marketing and supporting and do what we need to do as a company and corporation. But ultimately, it's making sure we can keep people healthy and do any part we can as an organization so they come out of it, right? Because our revenue is directly tied to it. If restaurants shut down when this is over and they don't come back, that's revenue we're not going to get back, not anytime in the near future. So, there's no value there. And it's not just about revenue. It's, again, back to the family and the industry. This is what you do. We're in need. I do videos on LinkedIn and some other stuff and try to keep positive messages out there. And I post songs at times and all that. And, know everyone's struggling from a different perspective, whether they're at home and work for a manufacturer and they're furloughed currently, to the restaurant employees that aren't working, to the restaurant guy that's hoping he gets his PPP loan and at least can make it for 3 months to get reopened. So, but I think as an organization, that was really kind of our focus. What can we do and how can we help these guys? Because ultimately, we love this industry, just like we were talking about, and they need our help, and we need to come to the table with solutions, help, support, whatever it is. And even coming out, I can tell you, we've launched a finance program that helps people. So they can finance Middleby purchases for 6 months at $30 a month, just so they had a window that they were comfortable getting through and knowing they don't have the capital outlay or wanting to do it because they need to get the restaurant open. So how do we help them even though they need to make some purchases? So that was just a different vehicle. Hey, let's do it. Let's keep it cost effective for them over 6 months so they can get what they need and continue to operate or reopen or wherever the case might be in different circumstances. But also doesn't put that immediate capital burden on them.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and that's that it's fantastic. The businesses that like Middleby that have been stepping up and really contributing to the customers, to the industry. One of the things that we did here is I think I told you the thing we did with the remote service and stuff like that. But above and beyond that, we just launched an incentive to give no service fee and 2 hours free service to anybody who asks. Which is something that we obviously, we're still a business, we're a profit center, and we have to stay in business too, but we really asked, hey, how can we give back as much as possible, without breaking our bank, but something that will truly go a long way with our customers and even those who aren't our customers, to get this industry back on their feet. And it really is just amazing, the different types of things that companies are coming up with to help, Middleby included. So what about internally? How did this change your processes internally with your teams and people working with one another or in adjacent, departments?
So, to give you an idea, we're still manufacturing 100%. So, and I knock on wood, and I'm beyond grateful because I know not everyone's as fortunate. And again, my goal for every manufacturer out there, hopefully they're all back up and running sooner than later because that's, again, the health of the whole industry. So manufacturing wise, we put in, a lot of things to protect the teams themselves. So temperature checking, extra hand wash stations, some added breaks, separating the breaks out, right? I don't want everyone at lunch at the same time now in a room. So we had to look at those things. And then even offset some manufacturing. So where we might split shift some of the work so we didn't have everyone in at once. Right. So how do I protect my workers first and foremost? I want our guys to be safe. I want them to feel comfortable coming to work. I want to make sure we can still take care of our customers, the needs out there, part shipping that need to occur, all those things that go on in our daily business. Internally, so technical service, customer service, sales, all that went remote. And so we have people working from home. We have Joanne Zucchero, who leads our customer care team, which includes customer service and technical service. She's done a phenomenal job. They have a standing call every day at 9. So 9 to 9:30, it could be, going through orders or things like that, or just, hey, how are you? How was your weekend? All that. So we do that. We collectively have 2 calls a week that has everyone together on it that's remote. So I felt like it was really important that although we were losing some of that tackiness and seeing each other and that interaction, culturally as a company, it's important that we continue to have those contacts, right? I don't want it to just be via email and, hey, what's going on with this? I need this order to ship, right? Because if that's all you start seeing, that's a beat down for somebody who's got, again, kids at home and trying to get work done and everything else. So I want to make sure we maintained our health and our culture. So making sure we do Zoom calls and those things have been paramount, I think, for all of us. Just for the health perspective itself, people feel appreciated. I think you caught the tail end of one of my calls there when we first joined, but we kind of joke, we kind of ring the bell when the order comes in now, right? So anytime we see an order, it doesn't matter what it is, we're excited, and everyone gets excited about it. And scarily enough, I'm actually created 2 TikToks last night with my 12-year-old. That'll be we got an order dance that I created that I'm going to send out to the team. And then I got another one that we joke about ringing the bell. So, but I just try to have fun with it too, right? Kind of keep it light when we can. We're thankful every order that comes in, no matter what the size is. But at the same time, the team's got to kind of have that separate connection beyond just day-to-day work stuff that's going on and that type of interaction. So, checking on them, making sure they're all right. We've unfortunately had a few members who had family members in New York that didn't make it. So we want to make sure we're able to support them in whatever capacity that we needed to and could when those things occur too. And make sure it's, everyone in the company is aware of that, right? So everyone's supporting each other.
Yeah. And this is really a good time, I think, for companies. It's as small as mine or as big as Middleby's, to really grow in ways that maybe, I don't want to say we're taken for granted, but, that's just the nature of the beast, I think, sometimes, with a lot of the things that we deal with in business. When things are going well, it's easy to say, well, they're just going to keep going well, just that's awesome that it's that way. But, times like this really make you look back and really dive deep into your business and remind you what's important, what you need to focus on, like you said, company culture and keeping everybody connected, which is obviously a challenge, right, through all of this. I mean, now nobody's in the same office, everybody's working remotely, so it's Zoom calls, and you get the situations that go viral now, the husband's walking by in his boxers in the background, or the dogs bark when the street cleaner goes by, or whatever it is. But it almost adds this element of humanness to it, right? And kind of reminds you that the people in your organization are people, and they have lives, and they have their own struggles, their own problems, their own successes, all of that kind of stuff. And I think that to remember that is really important. And then, like you said, being excited for the orders coming in, that's something that may have been taken for granted at one point too. I don't think you always rung the bell, right? When an order came through.
I mean, yeah.
So
no, it's a challenge. I mean, the one thing I've enjoyed too, and I tried to do a really good job of getting to know all the employees there and spending time with them, but I still think on a weekly basis through these calls, I learn 1 or 2 new things about somebody. And some of the times, some people, and rightfully so, they want to keep some separation between their job and their personal life and all that. And, and that sometimes that's just part of it, right? And that's their comfort level. But, people peeling back their own onion a little bit and allowing that exposure. And, just like what just happened with us here, the street cleaner comes by, the dogs are barking. 2 months ago, I was like, oh God, and then we're on these Zoom calls, everyone's laughing, because it's happening to them. And I'm like, guys, this is a new norm. I'm going to have a kid that walked in, and literally my son, like last week, I'm on a Zoom call and he walks behind to ask me a question. He doesn't have a shirt on. He's, in shape, working out, and he's going into high school next year and plays football. But he's like, oh crap, Dad, I'm on freaking Zoom. But that's life, right? I mean, that is who we are. That's what happens. But yeah, I mean, it's been fun too, just because I don't know that I would have gotten some of those opportunities to learn some of those things about those people, even if I had asked. But to your point too, yeah, there's a greater importance on it. And you find so many other areas where you connect with your people that you might not have known.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the other element to that is humor, right? Is being able to look
Yeah.
at situations like that and being able to laugh and still smile because I mean, look, there's a lot going on right now between the virus and people losing their lives and people losing their jobs and businesses struggling, all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there right now to be kind of pissed off about, but I think it's important. I'm a huge advocate, for humor and smiling and finding the good in situations and it's contagious, right? So, you're laughing because your kid's shirtless behind you on a Zoom call, and everybody else starts laughing. I mean, it's just that's real, and I think that it really goes a long way in building that camaraderie and everything else in business because you're reminded again that you're dealing with human beings and everybody's in it together.
No, I mean, I think one, laughing is healthy and needed, always, but especially during these times. And I'm pretty self-deprecating, you'll find out. So I've got plenty of ways to make fun of myself, but I always try to open some of those calls with it. Like this morning, the Zoom wasn't working, I guess, because I had to run an update when we were doing our call. So I had to call in, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I actually shaved this morning. I did my hair. I didn't put on workout clothes. I actually have a button-down shirt on. I was all excited, to show off. And we just sort of crack it up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's important for sure now. But again, it's important always in the organization.
Yeah, that makes sense. So are you doing anything personally during this time to help people with what's going on out there right now?
Yeah, I mean, I do those posts. So every Tuesday, we missed last night because we had some things going on. We'll do it tonight, but the Takeout Tuesday, I go out and do a little short video trying to represent local restaurants here in Austin that are opening, and go out and support the community that way. I've had friends call me just saying, hey, I'm trying to find out a solution how to get food from here to Expo and still keep some sort of distancing. Right. And so what are your thoughts on that? Hey, here's an idea. And I implemented it with a group just as an ad hoc thing, but we took basically a conveyorized piece that typically would go to a dish machine after it comes out or the plates are heading that way. And we put it down the middle of his line. So instead they were making food, then turn around, put it on the belt, and then it traveled down and Expo picked it up off a belt. Totally different thought process. I don't make it. I'm not making any money. I'm not manufacturing anything, but here's a potential solution to help you guys operate during these given times. So I've done that. I've tried to help people with job placement. I know I referred someone to you. I know it didn't work out, but knowing that so many people in our industry are hurting and furloughed. So I've tried to become an advocate of using my years of connections and people I know both in and outside the industry to try to help people find work. So, I mean, that's kind of where my advocacy's been from that perspective, but especially on the work side, I unfortunately don't think there's going to be enough jobs coming back to replace all that are lost in the industry, at least not for a while. So I've called on friends that are Dell, Amazon, other places that are hiring, and trying to get people opportunities through those avenues as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing that you're doing all of that stuff. And on that topic, if you know anybody in Houston, send them my way. I am looking for a service manager out there now. So.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. We're hitting the ground running with this, and our customers are coming back. We have such a wonderful customer base, and we're gearing up. So always looking. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I'll post something. So I do have a re-jobs page on Facebook I created.
Oh, cool.
And then was working on a website, and then it kind of got kiboshed a little bit. Unfortunately, I had illness in the family here, and they had some challenges too. But I'm still looking to get that website developed, so it's a place that everyone could go to look for those type of job opportunities. You could go on and post. Again, my goal is just to create a vehicle for people. Right? Where's an easier place, centralized, and then kind of a holistic approach with it. Right? So how do I apply for unemployment? looking for jobs outside, inside the industry, having people that would come and share their time on a 10, 15-minute video of, how to write a resume. Many people haven't done that in, forever and a day.
Yeah.
To then holistically mental health and addressing those aspects, but really trying to take a holistic approach to support people that have been furloughed or laid off and looking for work. But I'll take something like this and I'll post it and tag you on it and see if we can't get something going.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that topic, and I appreciate that, Todd. Thank you. And on that topic, it kind of segues into my next question. Okay, these people that have been laid off and have been furloughed, even business owners that have lost their businesses, and I guess I'm also speaking to the people who have lost loved ones and things like that to the virus. But what is the mindset that we should we should have during this time? What's the best way to think about the situation to make sure that maybe we don't get too down on ourselves, or we don't get too upset and depressed? Or what do you think?
Well, I think the first thing is, I think when those things happen, I've been laid off before myself, right? And so, you go through kind of the, oh my God, what am I going to do? My responsibilities to poor me. I know it wasn't the word I wanted getting out on the street at the time, so you want to shelter that in. But I think because of this, that's truly out, it's not a job performance thing. It's not any of that. It's just, unfortunately, this is something that no one anticipated and we've all been forced to react to. So one, I think if people can focus on that, I'm one of, unfortunately, 30 million people now unemployed in the United States. It's not anything you did. It's an unforeseen act that you have no control over, and a lot of people don't have any control over. So I think one, keep your head up and realize that it's not anything you've done. But I also try to tell people there's a ton of opportunity that comes from this. I mean, I'm hoping the United States as a whole, we eventually take this opportunity to, look at things differently and maybe rebuild differently and do some things differently. There's lessons learned all the time in our country, and you need sometimes these disruptions to make you wake up and go, okay. We kind of band-aided that, we band-aided that as much as we could, and maybe it's time to rip the band-aid off now and really approach it and look at it differently. Whether it's via technology, other stuff. So I think there's a ton of opportunities out there. I think, physical exercise to what you eat to engaging with kids is helpful. I tell people that too. I mean, I've been doing these workouts with my son. And like I said, he's 14 years old. He plays football. I think I joked with you the one day, but I woke up one morning. I don't think I was going to get out of bed. But 3 hours later, once I did get out of bed and got a couple of cups of coffee in me, I felt great. So I think it's important for them to stay engaged. I think they need engagement. And so let's not forget them too. So if you're part of an organization that furloughed people, or, people out there furloughed, I've got a group of people I try to make contact with at least every other week, just because they need that. Right. And, we might not talk about jobs. We might not talk about anything like that. It could be family, it could be funny things that happened over the last 2 weeks, whatever it is. But I think as individuals too, that's where we can really help those people. They need that type of contact. They don't want to be felt like they're left out alone right now. But again, back to the message for the people that are going through it, this isn't anything you've done. This is just, something out of our control. You're one of 30 million. There's no shame in this. There's nothing to be worried about in that sense. Get creative, start thinking of things. I mean, all of us have worked in this industry, you included, and realize there's all these opportunities that weren't ever acted on, whether it's a better way to fix something, a different way to do something, bringing digital and what you're doing today, writing your book. I mean, all those things that didn't exist before, you took it and ran with it and created something from it, and they're growing from it. There's those opportunities too. And I tell people too, I'm a huge believer in interacting digitally. So, go on and post some videos. If you got the time and stuff, go out and post some videos. Let people get to know who you are. One, you feel like you have purpose. It keeps you going. And two, it's going to let people see a different side they probably would never have seen. which also can make you an attractive candidate at some point coming out of this.
Yep, that's a good point too. No, and I think that's an amazing answer. And it's also true, and especially keeping people connected and just having those conversations, like you said, being a friend, just somebody that other people can talk to, and I mean, because that's what helps. I mean, we're instinctually, social creatures, most of us anyway, and I think just having a conversation, doesn't matter about what, often helps with that kind of stuff. And then it could lead to something else too. You bounce ideas off each other, whatever it may be. So how do you see this changing things for the better? If that's a fair question, how do you think we're going to be better as a country, as a world after this whole thing?
I think and hope probably more than anything, we appreciate more and more thankful. And I mean that as a country, as a world, as an industry, experiencing this, and even for me, I mean, I joke with you, but, I've got ADD and I've always been on planes and always going, and 8, 9 weeks, whatever it's been now at home has been a blessing because of the time I get with my kids that I haven't had. But at the same time, it's been a huge adjustment. But also makes me thankful for a lot of things that, like we joked about orders. Hey, an order came in before. We're like, dang, I did hit my quota today. Now we get an order and we're all ringing the bell and getting excited. Yeah. And high-fiving each other virtually and doing those things. So one, I just hope the country, the industry as a whole, I hope it sheds a little bit more light on the workers because, there's a ton of frontline people out there that are doing things today that are serving us. I mean, we are being served with these people. They're risking getting the disease. They're risking their lives. We don't know their situation at home. They could have people with asthma or other things at home that they're worried about coming home with. But they're doing it, right? They're out making sure they're earning a paycheck and keeping up with their responsibilities. But at the same time, they're serving us. So hopefully also appreciation for that level of worker that's out there that I think has just unfortunately gotten overlooked over a period of time. We draw some attention to, I think for the industry too, just cleanliness as a whole, and that's not a shot at anyone, but we have our own faults too, and we're great at some things and there's other areas of improvement. But I think, as we come out of this, that's going to be paramount.
Yeah.
And it's going to give people more confidence of eating out and understanding more about that company itself. I think another positive is the onion's been peeled back on everyone. You can't hide from this anymore. Again, whether it's my son showing up in a Zoom call to, I follow Walk-Ons, which is a Cajun sports bar out of Louisiana. They immediately stepped up and created this furlough kitchen where employees from the restaurant industry that were furloughed could come, and they were serving, meals to them daily, and they were opening up these pop-ups based on the current, where it had different locations around the United States. And I mean, what a phenomenal act, right? What a way to go out there and support, yes, they had to go get donations and figure it out, but, they didn't just sit back. So I think the positives will be, I think, a better, cleaner environment. I think there's going to be a huge transition to technology. So now speaking more business-wise, we've notoriously been way behind in technology as an industry. I think a lot of that was there wasn't maybe an ROI, there wasn't a desire, and hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of mentality. I think that's all going to change. We're going to have to rely on technology, whether it's, for safety issues to automating solutions now. I've talked to a lot of local restaurants here in Austin, and they're like, I don't even know if I want to get cooks back. I was paying them $25 an hour, which is a great wage for a line cook. And they went to work for AT&T doing 5G cable or doing something with that. And they're making $40 to $45 an hour. That person's not coming back.
Right.
So even after I reopen, how do I run the kitchen? So I think those with technology and robotics or other aspects is going to be paramount to everyone. And again, from a food safety to how they're going to have to run restaurants moving forward, to integration with POS, ordering, delivery, all that stuff. And so I look at that also as a huge opportunity. I'm glad to see we've made a lot of investments at times on technology that makes sense and never really got legs because of that. It's not broke, so don't fix it. That now, people are already asking us about, hey, I remember seeing this 5 years ago. You guys still have that? And can we do something with it? So I think there'll be those opportunities from a business perspective for everyone as well.
Yeah, I agree. We're seeing a lot of emergence in technology in this business, which, like you said, typically hasn't been the case in the past. As an industry, we're a bit behind, but so I think this is definitely going to push us in the right direction. So, look, man, I know how busy you are, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I just got one more question for you.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, from a personal standpoint, we've talked a lot about different things today, about the industry and about what's going on right now and the challenges. But what is it that you love most about what you do?
So again, I told you I had a soccer background in sports my whole life. I get to wake up and compete every single day with the team and have an opportunity to win every single day. And that's what fuels me. That's what drives me. And so the fact that I can do that, I have a team that's part of that. They make it happen. I can go out and promise customers we're going to execute. We're going to do this. Our ovens are great for all these reasons. They're the ones that make it happen. It's not me, right? So, but having that complete team behind it, and again, I get to wake up every day and compete. And I love competition. I love being out there doing it. And what drives me, and then even providing leadership from a team perspective today, dealing with COVID. I mean, it's awful, it's challenging, it's unexpected, but the lessons learned are, unfortunately, will be invaluable down the road.
Yeah, that's one of the better answers that I've heard. I mean, I hear a lot of good answers, but I think you're the first one who has noted the competitive factor, in the industry, working with the team, overcoming obstacles and hurdles, and really just pointing a group of people in the right direction and having the ability to win every day. I love that because it's the truth, and I'm competitive too, and that's really what fuels me. In the business, every single day is a challenge. Every single day is an opportunity for you to prove yourself. Every single day is an opportunity to make somebody else better, including yourself. Yourself and somebody else better, and continue pushing and moving forward, and healthy competition, right? Because I love a lot of our competitors in the industry. I tell them all the time, I love you guys, man, but my goal is to be bigger than you. That's all,
Yeah.
and your goal should be to be bigger than me, and that's how this works, man. It's fun, and we're all in it together, and what a blessing to be able to do that every day.
Yeah, and we all drive each other. I mean, I
Yeah.
love competition, right? I'd be fearful of not having competition, obviously. It's almost like the easy button, and no, I mean, at least for me, I don't want an easy button, but again, it advances technology, it does so many things. It keeps you competitive. I learn from what others are doing. I want to be better, provide more service, whatever it could be, technology, whatever the driver is. And again, those wins too are not just us getting sales. It's the wins when the new people have stepped into new roles and they've moved up the ladder, and you've helped support and be a part of that. But the chance to go out and have that impact and have those challenges every day, and knowing I get a chance to win at something every day is huge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So and hang up after I hit the stop button on this. Don't hang up right away. But is there anything you want to say to the audience before we wrap it up?
Look, I think for me, it's hang in there. I use the statement, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So one, be thankful, gracious for the restaurants that are opening at 25%. Unfortunately, I've heard some very impatient stories from customers, whether it's a mask required or, whatever the case might be. We're in a marathon. Let's do it right. The economy needs it. We need it. The people that aren't working right now need us to do it right. So it's important that we all keep that in mind. I think a lot of people have slowed down their pace, just generally speaking, but that needs to apply to your interactions outside your house and with others. When you're out there doing it, find your drive. whatever it is. I mean, if it's music, if it's getting outside, whatever it is, keep making sure mentally you're taking care of yourself. Mental illness is a terrible thing in this country and exists on a daily basis. And, there's a lot more people going through it today than before. So just pray and hope that everyone continues to find ways to keep themselves healthy and motivated through this time.
Love it, Todd. Why don't you tell people where they can find you, and we'll get on with it.
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and Twitter, Todd Breiner, and then Middleby Marshall. You can find it MIDD Marshall.com. That's our website. If you need service needs, need help, any of that, we're there to help you guys. And like I said, we're here to support in any capacity we can. And if we haven't thought of it, please let us know. We'll entertain it for sure.
Awesome. Todd, thank you so much for your time today and being on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. It was fun. I appreciate it.
All right. Until next time, buddy.
You got it, buddy.